Welcome back to the After Dark podcast where we discuss topics that are none of our business. It's your boy Black Mike on the mic. We got Big Stir up top. You already know what's going on. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below any opinions you have. Make sure you give us 5 stars and follow on any audio platforms. Now that we got that out the way, let's move into the show. Big Stir, how you doing today? How was your weekend? You got any updates for us? What's going on?
Not much, dude. My weekend was pretty chill, trying to save a little bit of money. I did buy another 24 pack of Michelob, and I'm currently trying to crush those this week and then buy another one on Friday. But yeah, had an interesting Saturday evening. Friend of mine, I stayed up way later than I needed to, but I wasn't even really fucked up. My other friend was, and I was just talking to them and like just shooting the shit, more or less, and talking about other stuff. But it's been pretty chill, man. My director's been in town the last 2 days. I love him, but like, damn, bro, he be putting hella stress on my shit. Like, bro, I don't be working that hard. Like, I work hard, but like, damn, he be making me feel like I'm be doing everything wrong. And he's like, oh, like this, that, and the other. And we be telling him like, bro, you just can't tell us what we're doing wrong and then not tell us how to fix it. Like, like you can't just come in. And we just got a new manager and she's great. And she's like, oh, like I'm gonna be more detailed and blah, blah. And she's great. She's awesome. And there's nothing against my director. I truly do. Like, I really enjoy him. I think he's a good guy. But he's honing in on some things that he's already admitted that he could have been better at. But other than that, man, life is good. I don't know if there's anything that's happened in your life or we're just rolling, man.
We rolling, man. Like I had told you right before the pod, I'll tell everybody else. I was planning on making a move. Unfortunately, something came up, and to circumstances not in my control, I am a Carolina boy for further notice.
That shit is ass, bro.
That's all I got to say on that at the moment. And yeah, so we will roll right into the podcast because I'm sure you listeners don't care about that and you're more concerned with the topics on the dock. Well, guess what, people? There are a lot of great topics today. Well, not a lot, but like we say, great topics, very specific topics. Obviously, we had a lot go down with the NFL. Week 2 is going to be big. I have to say it. Sterling warned you last week. As long as the Cowboys keep dominating, you're going to keep hearing it from me. It is get back season. Everyone who wanted to talk shit all my life, because there was plenty to talk shit about, this season's get back. Trust me. You can count on that.
Tony Romo age, bro.
Big get back. And Tony Romo's my favorite quarterback of all time, so speak to him nicely, okay? Sketches game. What's good? All right. We also got to get into Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. I bet you $1,000 Ashton Kutcher wishes he was being punked right now, but you ain't, my bro. You in some deep shit, and we gonna talk about it. We in Deion Sanders in Colorado. We're gonna get to that. We got to discuss it. We didn't discuss it last week, which probably was asinine on our part, but we will get to it this week. But we have to start with none other than Tyler Perry, big Tyler Perry out of Atlanta, Georgia.
ATL.
Some people might know him as Medea, but guess what, guys? It is a dude. It is Tyler Perry. Medea is not real, in case you didn't know. But he has some relationship advice to women that went astronomically viral. Well, it was a lot of debate was, being picked up from what he said. I'm going to play the audio so y'all can hear it and let me know your thoughts, and then we will discuss it as well. So let me go ahead and pull that up and play this for you guys.
Listen, a lot of women, especially black women, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I will, in our society right now, black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black men, right? There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job and is a good man and is good to you and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can, because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yeah.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you handle the light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
So, as the 1% men who listen to this podcast, it is our duty to speak on behalf of our brethren who are not doing as well to us that he is discussing in that topic. So, before we get into it, Sterling, what were your initial thoughts? I know you said you have jotted down some initial reactions of when you first heard the video. I just want to kind of hear, even though I pretty much know where you stand on this topic, and it's probably pretty similar to where I stand, but we got to break it down for the people.
Yeah, I mean, first things first, I mean, when it comes to like this sort of thing, it does come down to personal preference. I'm 100% with that. But obviously the personal preference is dictated by the financial situations of both parties. Whereas I didn't feel as if he had to focus on black women specifically, which I thought was a little odd, where he could have brought up all races, not just black women, because there's plenty of women out there of different races making more money than the other person. But actually, statistically, black men are still technically making more money than black women, if we're just talking about that ethnicity or that race. But that's just part of the quote unquote wage gap that we don't want to get into. That's just a fucking pile of shit. I'm going to avoid that one. But I think that Tyler Perry is speaking from a level of hierarchy because obviously he's one of the most, renowned directors and writers in Hollywood, and specifically Black Hollywood. And he's been able to do things with just one title, not even just that, but multiple shows, movies, etc., to make himself who he is today. So he doesn't have that. That's more or less my initial thoughts. I kind of want to get yours, and we can go into a little bit back and forth on that though.
Yeah, for sure. So I was like you, the very first thing I thought of and the only critique I had towards what Tyler Perry said was that he directed it towards black women. I feel like us as black men specifically need to stop making generalizations that are directed towards black women that are applicable to all women. I think, and he got it messed up. Like you said, statistically speaking, black men are making more than black women. Statistically speaking, women are making more than men nowadays is in the younger quadrant. So the kids that are coming into the workforce now, women are making more. So that statement was directed towards black women. That should have been a generalization. That would have been fact. That's the only issue I had with what he said. Listen, you got to understand, for the women's listening to this, for the men listening to this, as a society, generally speaking, historically speaking, men have been making all the money. They were the ones in the workforce. They were the ones going to work. Therefore, they were the breadwinners and acted as the breadwinners in the household. So as a society, we always wanted to make that a guy's thing. The guy is the breadwinner. The guy takes care of the household, spends money on the household. That's messed up. That was only aligned with how society was functioning back then. But in reality, the person that takes care of the household when it comes to big financial responsibilities is the breadwinner. That is the breadwinner's job. Historically speaking, it was the man who was the breadwinner, but that is not the case today. It's the breadwinner's job. So as a lady in today's society, if you're making a lot of money, statistically speaking, if you're up in the 125 grand, let's say you're 125 grand plus, there's going to be very few men that will eclipse that pay. So with that being said, you must know that if you're not one of the people that end up with one of the guys that eclipse that pay, and it's going to be very rare for you to do so, and not all of y'all that are making that money can have a man that will eclipse that pay, you will have to take on breadwinner responsibilities, and that's absolutely okay. So, I just feel like there's kind of a mix up where we think that is always the man's job, but it's really just a breadwinner's job in the relationship. And women who are now being the breadwinners need to be okay and accept that fact.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when it comes down to more or less breadwinners, etc., I'm a big proponent of, like I said, it is personal preference, but I'm also a big proponent of knowing this conversation needs to happen well before you're in a situation of living together in the same household when it comes down to bills, mortgages, rent, etc. Because I know my parents' setup and how it works. To a, not all the specifics about it, but I kind of understand how things work in terms of finances. Not saying my dad's paying for everything, and it's not to say my mom's paying for everything. It's very well put together based on income structure. And at that point, like, this is the things that if you're not doing this before you live together, you need to take it upon yourself with your partner, whether that's male on male, female on female, what heterosexual relationship, whatever it is, your situation. Um, you need to take that upon you and your partner to have that discussion and be very open and honest about. You don't have to say, "Oh, I make $85,735.62 a year." Like, you don't need to be like down to the nub, but you'd be like, all right, look, I make more money than you by X amount of margin. I make 20% more money than you. So in reality, I'm going to have to pay or should be paying more. And this goes, people will be like, oh, well, that's the same thing about taxes. Because people think that people that make a lot of money should be taxed a ton. Yes and no. There's a fine line on that, but that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But if I'm in the situation as a man, I'm willing to handle that responsibility for all of those things if I'm in a financial position to do so. I will 100% do it. Like, it wouldn't even bat me in the like it wouldn't even I wouldn't even think about it. But what a lot of ladies I want to let you guys realize, or want you guys to realize, is that one of the things as men that makes us feel fulfilled with our partner is making us feel useful. And that's a way that we feel useful. If you're like, nah, I got it, even if you're not even the one that's the breadwinner, quote unquote, like, we want to do it. Like, it'd be nice to save a couple bucks in our own pocket, but it's like, oh, like, she's want to do like, oh, the light bill or something. Cool. Like, that's not a big deal. But if you're like, oh, I'll pay the mortgage, don't worry about the cars, don't worry about this, like, don't worry about the credit cards. I got those too. Like, whoa, like, I'm the one that's supposed to be breadwinning here, and you're just like trying to take the reins from me, more or less. And I know it sounds stupid, and I'm sure there's gonna be some ladies listening to this like, what the hell is he talking about? But I'm being 100% honest with you from a male perspective. In my experience, that is the things that will make him happy, and those are the things that will also consistently hold a good, solid marriage or relationship when it comes to living together. Last point I want to make is I've heard before, and I don't know if you've ever heard it before. I'm sure you probably heard of some type of variation of it before, where a lot of women will say, it's his money is my money, and my money is my money. So this goes directly back to the point here. I'm not saying that I don't mind spending money on you type of thing. Like I said, if I'm in the financial position, just do that. But I'm not going to condone you just buying Louis bags and this, that, and the other. And like, no, that's not how we work. That's not how my parents got to where they are. That's not how Michael and his parents got to where they are. You don't do that stuff. You play it smart. You give yourself something here and there. You do nice gifts from each other if you are in the financial position to do so. Live under your means no matter how much money you make, and you will always have money in your wallet, and you always have money to back yourself up when shit hits the fan. So I just don't believe in that. Other than that, Tyler Perry hit the nail on the head to a degree. Like I said, I wish he didn't have to focus on black women because they already get oppressed enough, just to be frank. And I don't think our women need any more of that just hit to the face. It can definitely be more generalized when it comes down to this type of topic in terms of breadwinning and who's paying and who's not paying, picking up the bill, etc. All these things are under the same umbrella.
Yeah, and I think that where the biggest difference comes is really like a mindset thing. Because when you think about it, guys are more willing to, provide for a girl who doesn't have much to her name, really. Guys will provide for a project, quote unquote, per se, financially speaking, while a successful woman is significantly less willing to provide for a guy who's more of a project and has more external qualities.
Financially a project.
Financially a project. Yeah, we're speaking financially because that's what the topic is about. And they're less willing to provide for that guy. And the thing is, once you make a lot of money and you're still living with the mindset that I need a guy that makes more than me, well, then guess what? Like, your pool gets smaller. Your pool gets significantly smaller. The average male in the United States makes what, like $45,000 a year. So it's going to be significantly hard. Then you got to take. So you want someone who makes a lot of money and makes more than you. Your pool shrunk. Now that person has to be single. They can't be in a relationship. Pool shrunk again. Most of y'all have preferences on height and body type. Pool shrunk again, and the pool just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Eventually, your lady's going to be looking like One Piece, trying to find the one piece, and the dude is going to be like all of y'all traveling the seas like some pirates looking for that one lucky nigga that gets the girl. All of y'all chasing the one piece. Y'all got to... It's bad to say it because of the way social media has kind of made everything, but it's a numbers game. It's literally a numbers game. It's like sales. It's a numbers game. That's all it is. And as you keep putting in a bunch of criteria, your number drops significantly. And so you're going to have to meet that person. And it's not like we got a go find me rich nigga app where it's where it pinpoints where every rich nigga lives in the United States and what his and what his current situation is. That's not a thing yet. I'm sure it will be one day. I'm sure that they'll have some kind of app that provides it. But as of right now, the best you got is Raya, and that's not gonna, that. You need a recommendation to be in that. So most of y'all women probably ain't gonna be on that shit no how. But go ahead.
Well, even in that same vein, you know how we got to get on these tangents. It goes down a whole different route, but it's on the same route at the same time. We're still on 85 right now, but we might break off and hit 485 here soon. Who knows? But in that same vein, there are I know that in our futures, I'm sure, especially when you get into your 30s. I mean, I think it's great, personally, that women are making so much money now. I think it's awesome. I think the playing field is becoming extremely level. Getting to that point. But when it comes to finding a partner, I thought you were gonna go on along the lines of a lot of women are don't settle, don't do this, don't do that. The one person is out there for you. No. That's not how it works. That's not how it works, bro. I'm sorry. Like Mike said, it's a numbers game. And if there's only one person that fits your criteria in the entire world of 8 billion people, 8 billion, your odds, dude, you have better odds to winning the lottery. I'm almost positive. You might as well play the lottery every night instead of trying to do that. And then you have to think about that one guy, for example. Is he going to even have the balls to come and speak to you, or actually get through that door, or do whatever it needs to be to get you even interested in the first place? These are all other factors. These are micro or macro things. No, micro things that you don't even think about, more or less, when it comes to finding a partner.
And the cold truth is, I feel like most people marry the person that is near and good enough in the moment that they're ready to be married. It's not even the best relationship they've been in. It's not their perfect match, quote unquote. Some of y'all people think it's a perfect match. Guess what? God did not put your perfect match, you and your perfect match in Joko together. It did not work out like that. You had a relationship, you made it work, you work on it every single day, and that is what a marriage is. And now you are ready to be married. That person's ready to be married and settled down, and y'all can make it work cohesively together. That is what happens. There is no perfect person out there. If you were to no longer be with that person, the odds of you finding love again in a situation, to be in a relationship, to get married again, is pretty high. That is just a cold, hard fact. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, it's the truth. And I want to go back to the point that I said earlier. If you ladies feel like you're settling, there's so many things that a man could say about settling with a woman too, man. It's the same thing. Because I wanna let y'all hear me real quick. Look, in this society, we have a there is a pandemic or an epidemic of lack of accountability. Let's just be 100% honest here. So with that lack of accountability, unfortunately, from what I see, this isn't a fact that I know of. Women are typically less accountable for their actions than men and more often than not, are less accountable. With that being said, women are more willing to shit on men, like for not doing. He could have almost everything, but he doesn't have everything, and it's like, oh, like he wasn't doing this. But think about all the things you didn't do or have that he might have been looking for. You know, take it and see it on an even playing field, because I know some people. I'm not talking anybody in particular, but I know some people that like to slander but won't take accountability for the things that they've done. So that's something you got to be like, that's more, if your ego's there, right? If your ego's there, that's a different story. But understanding what you've done, if it was good or bad, and where you can improve, is all about being a human, the human experience, bro. Like, I'm telling you, ladies, like for every lady out there who's looking for a man, whatever your situation is, like, especially from the heterosexual side, I'm gonna tell you, there's multiple men out there for you. It's about timing, and it's about what you're willing to give and also give up at the same time to have what you truly want as true love. Because love is a fallacy. It's a fallacy. Love's never enough. Respect, honor, communication, all these other factors go into it. And back to communication, if you're not communicating with your partner about how you like to do bills and et cetera, so on and so forth, prior to you living together, once again, you are just going to fuck your entire marriage. Because what is it? 50% of marriages in the United States are literally broken off because of finances. Like, not even because they don't love each other. They probably love each other a bit, but it makes you resentful, and people are greedy. We're all greedy. People are like, oh, you're so greedy. No, everyone is greedy. You just don't want to admit this shit. Admit you're greedy, understand that, and then take it from there and take the proper steps to do what you got to do to get yourself right.
Yo, and if you chicks are out here breaded up, it's okay to have yourself a decently paid bulldog in the house. You know what I'm saying? He's just a bulldog. He's just out there chilling, just grumpy on the porch all day long because he's protecting his girl or some shit. And you out here paying for everything, and he's just over here, just being a dog type shit. Like that's okay too. It's a new world we're moving in. There's a lot of
Yeah.
our kids, and even like a lot of the people who are growing up now, there's going to be a lot of cases where the woman is the breadwinner, or you're making the same amount of money and the guy is not as financially responsible, so the woman's sitting on more money. There's going to be a lot of situations where that happens, and quite frankly, it's not a bad thing at all. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's equal, it happens. There's going to be somewhere it's traditional. There's going to be somewhere it's non-traditional. There's going to be somewhere it's equal income coming in. They all can work, but you just need to understand what position you're playing and play it well. If you're making a lot of money, just understand, like, your pool's smaller. So yes, you can wait, but don't wait too long, sweetie. Don't wait too long. You're gonna be waiting, and you're gonna be looking around, and everyone else is gonna be happy, smiling with their little $50,000 man, and you over here grumpy because I'm still waiting for that 7-figure nigga, and he ain't came yet. And I don't know what to tell you. Some of y'all don't even know what you really want, which is the number one problem, because y'all have all these standards and criterias, and none of that is what you need at all. Like,
Ask yourself, Mike, what do you want in a woman? Like, and I be telling people, like, honestly, bro, I just want somebody that's cool, like, obviously looks good, like, somewhat take care of herself. She don't need to be no gym rat, nothing. And like, that's it, bro. Like, that's it.
I just want
I don't
somebody,
need her to be like, yeah,
I'm attracted to, that's nice, cool, and nurturing. I don't need nothing else.
yeah, bro. Like, and then look, women got this list look like this. Hold up, the scroll. Hold up, the scroll. Hold up.
Heary.
She got her girl saying, this man must be 6'2", have an NFL body, making 150K, has a penthouse and his own house prior. Like, bro,
Hung like a horse.
like hung like a like, bro. What else do you need? Like the standards are like, and I'm gonna this is my last point. This last little bit I'm gonna make on this, but I'm telling you, bro, it's discouraging as fuck. But I understand there's a lot of cool women out. There's not everyone's nice either, man or woman. I'll tell you that straight up. There's not a lot. There's a lot of people are nicer than what they give off. But if you're asking for too much and you can't deliver even half of what you're asking on your half, knowing that this is men's standards, then you already lost. Because we've said it before. Like women will probably say like, "Oh, guys' standards are so low," blah blah blah. It's no. It's because we know we like most men don't need a lot. We don't need a lot. We just need something. We don't need a
That's
lot.
not
We don't
it.
need you to be.
That's
We
not
don't
it.
need that.
What it is, Sterling, is that we are the ones putting ourselves out there getting rejected. So we are forced with the reality of what our actual pool of women is. We're not sitting here delusional like we need the baddest thing coming around because we've tried. Trust me, we've tried. And most of us have not succeeded very often at getting the baddest chick around. So we are quite aware that, hey, the likelihood of me ending up with that is probably slim. So that's probably not my go-to pool of women. And I feel like women don't have that same kind of like, they get approached by people and they even get approached by the rich niggas who just trying to, dick them down and leave. But they think because they getting dicked down that, these rich niggas want to hold them down. And it's like, nah, there's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah. I definitely think that yes. Not to say us men won't take our shot at that 10 out of 10 that's probably way out of
Oh
our
yeah,
league.
for sure.
We take the shot. Bro, they be like, why men so sad? Why is that? Bro, dudes be getting hit in the mouth with just the worst reject. The worst you can say is no. Have you ever seen those TikToks before, bro? Or
Yeah.
those videos? Bro, they be out of pocket. Like, who the fuck are you? First off, you look like this, and just go on a roast. And it's just like, dog, like, he just asked a simple question. Like, he didn't even deserve that. So, for ladies out there, be good to the men out there that are just trying. Like, if they're creepy, shoo them away. But like, if you can at least tell that they're trying to give themselves a shot, shit, you might, if you give them a chance, you might actually start to like them. Who knows? With that being said, let's move into some idiots on the internet. Two of, quite frankly, some of the I think these are some of the worst parents from the outside looking in that I've ever seen in my life. That is Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Tyler Perry had advice about relationships, and Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis must be on the same page about stupidity. So, that being said, if you didn't know, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis recently wrote a letter on behalf of their former That 70s Show co-star Danny Masterson, who is facing serious allegations, more or less on rape charges, and I don't want to use that word, but
Yeah, let's steer away from it because of the YouTube
sexual
algorithm.
sexual assault, and we want to make sure that we kind of we want to talk about it, but we don't want to like get too graphic or anything like that for the sake of ourselves, honestly. And for anybody that's listening, it might be sensitive content. I'm sorry, but my first question for you, Mike, is obviously, hearing these two idiots, like, I'm sorry, they're just not smart people. What are your thoughts on them writing more or less a character um, letter about Danny Masterson to kind of give him some leeway?
Yeah, so my number one issue with it was the fact that it came after the guilty verdict, if I'm correct. Like, so the letter was
Yep.
to lighten his sentence. And to me, that's just not something that, especially with what he's being sentenced for, that I feel like they necessarily needed to do and per se. And I understand that this is a lifelong friend. This is probably someone they considered a brother. It's probably family to them at this point. But had this been prior to the verdict, oh yeah, my boy could have never done this. Absolutely. No shot. I'm writing the letter. That I would have no problem for at all. Like, go ahead, shoot it in there. You're riding with your boy. Understood. You don't know the verdict yet. All the ins and out have not came out yet. You're riding with your boy. I understand. But the fact that he was already guilty, the fact that you literally have a foundation for sex trafficking and stuff like that. So you already know just how serious these types of things are in real life, and you yourself are writing a letter on someone who you know has been convicted on multiple counts of doing this kind of thing, and then you give us this half-ass apology video that was just really trash for two actors, to be honest, and actresses. I mean, honestly, Ashton Kutcher did a pretty good job. He was a decent actor to make it like he wasn't reading. But to me, Mila Kunis, she looked like she did not even want to, like, how I saw it. A lot of people were saying, like, oh, she's a bad actor, she's bad at reading. I didn't really take it like that. I took it like she feel like she shouldn't have to do this shit. Like, she feel like this shit's stupid. Her PR is making her do this, and she's gonna do the video as if her PR is making her do this, and she's completely unbothered and doesn't want anything to do with this at all. That's how I saw that video. But I mean, I really just thought it was I just think it was a bad precedent, a bad message. They said they didn't think it would get out. You're Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis. This is a celebrity case. If you thought that if you thought that wasn't gonna get out, I don't know what world you live in. If you don't know what kind of day and age we're in right now, you're bugging. You're absolutely bugging. But those were my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I think I find it quite laughable. These two are actually some of I'm telling you, bro, they're some of the biggest idiots on the internet. Telling you every single time about them not washing their kids for like multiple days at a time, and just coming out and telling people that, like, bro, your kids are gonna get flamed in school. Flamed. They're gonna flame. Like, oh, but so what? Like, we live in a big house. You don't use the showers though. You don't use the showers. You got 5, 6 bathrooms. Don't use one of them damn showers. Stanky ass. Secondly, the fact that they put out a letter basically recanting exactly like kind of what you were saying is absolutely insane. You can't write letters post conviction and literally just be like, "Oh, my bad for saying that." And let's be honest, when it comes to Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, they're just trying to find their way back into the limelight here and there. Obviously, lack of notoriety they've had over the past little while. I mean, Ashton's attached to a lot of stuff. Mila Kunis, she's there. She had her time. She had her day. She needs to take care of her kids and shower them more or something. I don't know what it needs to be done, but I'm sure them kids stink. They smell like outside for multiple days. Smell like rotten eggs mixed with outside.
You probably rub them kids in dirt because scrub, how
it's like playing a sport back in high school. You get home from a game, you could be all scratched up, bloody and stuff. You still gonna make sure you take a shower because you'll see that shit just run off you in the shower. Like, damn, that shit gross. Like, kids play in the mud, bro. They play in dirt. Like, don't let your kids go a day without taking a shower or taking a bath. But honestly, I don't have really many thoughts inside from the fact that I know that they're both just ignorant, regardless of like him if he actually did this or not. But based on the evidence that was presented, obviously it was enough to convict. Secondly, I think it was pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Not senseless, but a little psychotic, more or less, or like sociopathic, where it seemed like they invalidated the people involved on the other side, and that's something that I don't find that's like cool. Like, I don't think that's cool at all.
And there was kind of another layer on it, because there was a video that was going back, an old interview. I don't know if you saw this, Sterling, but there was an old interview of Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher when they first started the show, and Mila Kunis like was 14 years old, Ashton Kutcher 19 at the time, and they were having bets on, oh, would you use tongue with making out with her and shit like that? And he was like, oh, I'll do it for $5 and stuff like that. And they were talking about how she would kiss everybody at the studio and stuff like that. And it was just like, dude, so there's a lot of weird stuff circling around over there. I obviously don't know the ins and outs. I did not go down a YouTube rabbit hole just because, honestly, I'm not interested in what these two have to say and, where the story lies in between. I think justice has already done its due. And to me, I'm perfectly fine at that. So I left it there. But I do think that there's a lot of weird stuff going on between the three of them, which is probably the reason why they were willing to like go out on a limb and write that letter. I heard it's also got a lot to do with Scientology, which I'm not quite knowledgeable on, so I will avoid trying to give my opinion or trying to state what interconnections there are with the Scientology in this case, but I encourage you to go and do some research on that and look into it. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting different routes you could take with that, but I'll stay away from it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from it too. All I know is Oprah's one of those, so if that's what it takes to be a billionaire, I'll do it too. But that being said, I just want to go back to the point here where I thought it was ironic that they're in the letter that they wrote, a couple things that I took down that I noted was more or less they use words like father figure and he's like anti-drug and all this, that, and the other. I'm like, this is hella ironic after he got convicted for damn, I gotta be never mind. Yeah, we gotta be careful. But in this instance, I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was quite laughable that these people really thought they could just do this and then come out with an apology like this shit didn't happen. And like it'd be one thing if it was prior conviction, and it'd be another thing if it was post. Like it's post conviction, dog. Like it's like Mike Vick did the dog fighting, brother. Like I'm even if he did or he didn't, obviously the evidence was there. My boy was fighting dogs like fuck, making bread on the side, still
Like
making millions.
fuck, like
Like fuck,
crazy, yeah.
bro. I mean, the same way, but the thing is like if the glove don't fit, you must acquit type of shit. Like, I mean, like give it to him. Like we believe in jury and executioner, judge, jury, and executioner. So we give it to him. That's what it is. Um, I just don't, me personally, I don't wish harm or any wrongdoing to anyone. But at the end of the day, the guy still got convicted. I think there's wrong convictions at times in cases that I see. But from the evidence that I saw, just doing a little bit of research and just reading a little bit about it, there's not much to stand on there. And no matter if you can write 150 character letters for a character witness after the fact, it ain't changing nobody's fucking mind for a damn appeal or nothing, bro. Like, look, if Tory can't get out on an appeal for shooting Megan in the foot, then this nigga is definitely not getting out.
Hell
That's
yeah.
fact.
Fact.
I don't fuck with any of that like at all. I actually have zero tolerance for it. So, if anybody has thoughts on that, love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And like Mike said about the rabbit hole, if you guys found us through the YouTube rabbit hole, stay down here. It's nice and dark. No sun out here, but it's nice and dark. It's about 70 degrees with a light breeze. Perfect fall going into or summer coming into fall weather. Just saying. I mean, that's what it's like down here in the Carolinas right now. I don't know where you guys are at, but and if you're in Africa and y'all out there hot as hell, hey, more power to you. Drink all the water you can get, my G. Because look,
Drink up.
a bro was pissing yellow today. I didn't drink enough water. It was bad, so I couldn't be there. But in that case, we got to hop onto the sports, man. And I'm gonna leave the week recap of week 2 as the last topic because I know it's gonna be one of our longer ones, and I know we have listeners that are specifically coming for that. So I'll leave that in its own right to the end of the pod. But if you guys haven't been watching the amazing story that is the Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, they escaped this man misspelled escape so bad.
I was typing it mad quick in the doc, bro.
No, I appreciate you. They escape a narrow victory against, I mean, newfound foe Colorado State after the controversy of the coach basically saying that Deion's not classy, etc., so on and so forth. This dude's an idiot too. Like he just dumb for that. But when it comes down to Deion at this very moment in the season, in the situation that they came into and where they are at this moment at 3-0 currently, is this the most impressive coaching story that you've ever witnessed, Mike, in your lifetime where you can genuinely remember it? Because we could talk about the past and Phil and Pat Riley on the basketball, but we're talking about our lives in the adulthood, and not even just adulthood, as we become accustomed with more and more sports stories.
I would have to say so because I'm struggling to find an alternative. I can't recall a coach having this level of impact. And when I really think about it, a lot of the coaching stories is like, oh, they brought a bad team to a good season this year, and everyone like thought that this team had no talent and they brought them up. But this is so much deeper than that. Like, this is a cultural thing. I think the last game, Colorado versus Colorado State, it peaked at 11.1 million views. It broke records.
8.9 million late night at the 2:30 ending time Eastern time of that game. That literally broke a record.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's insane what he's doing. And we're talking about Colorado versus Colorado State. Let me say that again. Colorado versus Colorado State. There's not many scenarios in life where I find myself tuning into that game if it wasn't for the Deion story.
I never watched Colorado once before the season, bro.
Exactly. The Deion story, the Shador story, the Travis Hunter story, which was also, we can get into that a little bit later. What happened to him, that was absolutely fucked up. But it's also football, so I get it. But it was still fucked at the same time. But I mean, I think this is a great story. It's got so many layers to it. It's got him taking these black kids who obviously are in less privileged situations most of the time. I mean, that's a fair generalization.
Yeah.
That's a fair generalization. And he's turned them. He said, he tells the parents, send me your boy. I bring him back a man. And he's clearly doing that in the way they handle themselves in these press conferences. They're confident, rambunctious men. They're growing into like these little Deons, just walking out here, just slaying away the world. Shador is confident. He feels no pressure, completely poised. On water, man. He step up to anyone. He's got confidence through the roof. Travis Hunter's got confidence through the roof. The whole team feels it. There's a father-son window into the story. I mean, it's almost too perfect of a story, and I hope that it continues. I hate that they don't have Travis Hunter for Oregon next week or USC after that, because those are going to be premier matchups that I would love to see what they could do at full strength. And God forbid if you let them win those games, oh my God, bro, it's gonna shut down.
You talk about the Patrick Mahomes effect. It'll be like crack. Shout out to crack epidemic.
Shout out to crack epidemic. We haven't shouted them out in a minute.
I know. Shout out my boy Frank Saint. That's all I gotta say. But that being said, I love that you hit on the cultural point, because that's exactly what I kind of took notes on. So, I mean, for the folks that don't know, like, I mean, I got about 5-6 pages of notes up here for this pod, because I had some time before, and I usually don't try to be pretty off the cuff, but I throw my thoughts on paper sometimes when I have some time. But it seems like, in my opinion, the entire world is on Deion and Colorado's shoulders, and they're just lifting them up at the same time. Like, they're literally have the whole world up here, and they're still getting lifted up. They're floating. And he's like, I mean, like I said, to the culture thing, it gives me chills thinking about it, because it's actually an insane thing that's happening in college football and football in general. Deion has adopted a style of coaching that suits today's age of football and the players. Because now everything is flashy. Everything is a little confident. Everything's a little swaggy. People might back in the day would definitely call it a little bit of arrogance. You got to have that type of swag. Ultimately, he's bringing them personality, man. Personality. There is a problem in sports. There are fantastic football players, basketball players, baseball players are the worst at have personality, which I hate, because I'm a baseball guy at the end of the day. But this is the type of stuff that makes these guys marketable in college, and then it also makes them marketable once they get in the league, so they can continue to make money for their families and themselves and support themselves throughout their life if that's what they choose to do. And if they don't choose to go the route of football, they'll still be marketable, because it doesn't matter. These people, they are seeing who they are. And on a more serious note,
wait, if you're going to switch off that point, can I speak to that point real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I thought that was a great point. I didn't even really think about it from that standpoint, because I want to bring up Steph Curry and how he goes about his game, and what Jeff Teague was talking about on his podcast, because there's a shift that a lot of athletes don't understand that happens from when you leave high school and enter college. From adolescence to high school, sports is sport, and it's all about game. It's all game, game, game. You're trying to be the best. Who's better than who? When you line up against in front of me, I'm going to tear you down. Once you enter college and you're looking at the pros, you're looking at NFL, MLB, NBA, whatever it is you're looking to do, you are no longer in just sport game. You are now an entertainer. You are a television star. Your show is the sport. So you are just as much an entertainer as Stephen A. Smith is, but what you do is go out there and play a sport. And so why I bring that up and why I want to talk about Steph Curry real quick, and I'll let you get back to your topic, is because Jeff Teague was talking about it, about how he was mentioning, like, dude, you ain't got to be all flashy, why you shimmying and everything like that. And Steph was telling him, like, hey, man, you got to do those kind of things. That's where the money's at. That's what makes you marketable. So when he hits that shot and he does his shimmy, yeah, he's doing a shimmy because fuck you to the other guy in front of him. You're not as nice as me, and I'm going to have fun and dance around. But he's also cognizant of the cameras around him and how that's going to look on the TV, how that's going to be marketable. Whenever you hear the we're going to commercial break, he knows he's going to be played because he hit the dagger three and did a shimmy, and that's going to be the slow motion before whopper, 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 whopper hits your TV. And so Deion is implementing that into the players, and allowing them to show their flash, allowing them to make money through NIL and be big marketable stars, while also making sure they stay focused at the task at hand, which will only allow you to be where you want to be, is winning football games and doing it at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are a pleasure to watch. If you guys haven't had the opportunity, I'm sure you probably saw clips, but take a chance and watch the games. You'll really get an understanding of how good, especially the top guys, the Travis Hunters, even his other son, Shiloh, on defense, and Shador is outstanding right now. It's definitely showing the change of the guard in terms of black quarterbacks, or from white quarterbacks to black quarterbacks within not just the college football game, but obviously in the NFL game, and how powerful they are. But as I was saying, like, no one saw this coming. And to speak to that exactly, statisticians had this team at 2.7 wins for the entire season. They are currently 3-0. And they're going to go against their second biggest test as of yet, because their first biggest test was ECU, or not ECU, TCU. Yeah, ECU might have been a wash. But went against TCU, came out victorious. That was the big icebreaker moment where they're like, oh shit, these guys are for real. Deion wasn't lying. Now they're going to be going up against the number 10 Oregon Ducks this week, which I'm excited to watch. It's prime time. It's literally prime time. It's on ABC. And the next couple of weeks, they're going to have to play USC like the following week against the Heisman favorite, Caleb Williams, who is also extremely marketable. Extremely fucking marketable. And in that case, I'm so happy that Coach Prime has come to the scene, man. He has shown the way for a lot of young athletes, specifically in the black community or minority communities. Dude, you could be yourself. Just do it. Be high class. Handle your business. Like, be respectful. Have fun, dude. Have fun, because this game doesn't last forever. I'm pretty sure he said that. And for the past couple weeks, since my new managers came in, she's played 2 videos on Mondays. We always have like a Monday morning meeting where we'll talk about what we want to do and stuff. And she always put like a motivation video. She's like, I've jumped on the bandwagon. Deion is that guy, man. Deion's that guy, and he's changing the landscape for recruiting, for coaching, and a lifestyle, and how to live and be at a very high level. But to talk about the Travis Hunter situation, because I think has to be brought up, unfortunately. The Travis Hunter situation, if you guys didn't see, literally you could type in Travis Hunter on YouTube, and I guarantee that the first thing will come up will be like, hit Colorado State player or whatever it is. Travis Hunter definitely took a cheap shot. from one of Colorado State linebackers. But in my opinion, like I said, I think it was a dirty play. I think it was dirty as all hell, and I don't condone it, especially in a sport like football where you're already getting fucked up from day one, you know. Um, but this does not condone him getting death threats. If you guys didn't know, that same player was getting death threats to his family and himself for the hit he had. And I don't want to make this about like a positive thing, but that's the type of effect that this team has had on America, that people are all rooting for them and they want to see them succeed. And I'll make my point here and I'll kind of let you talk about the situation. But with that being said, I imagine this definitely could be a detrimental loss for the Buffaloes, like for them at the end of the day, when they're going against a team like Oregon, who's a high powered offense, always been a high powered offense, even when they had their off years. But I really hope, from my personal opinion, this isn't like the end of a beautiful season. I want to see these guys be able to be in the conversation, like, damn, they might be able to make the college football playoff if they keep winning.
Yeah.
Because that's one of those things. If you talk about the overall, is this the most impressive coaching performance or situation that you've ever seen? I go with you as well. To all the things I said, I didn't even answer the question up front, but yes, But they could go. What is it? How many games in the regular season in college? 12.
Yeah.
They can go 10-2. They could literally lose against Oregon and USC. In my opinion, they need to win against one of them to keep them in a really high bowl.
They need a
But
split. They need a split to be able to make the
they need
playoffs.
they need a split, and ideally, if they could lose to Oregon and then if they beat USC, I think they'd be still in good shape. Like I think because I don't think USC would lose to anybody else for the rest of the year, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Um, and I really want to see them succeed. Sure, a lot of other people do too. I just believe that if these guys even get 10 wins this season, based on what statisticians had them at 2.7, this will be flat out the most impressive coaching performance in any sport in my time, honestly, probably ever. And we'll probably won't see anything like this for a while because nobody has the balls or really the type of pull to be able to do something like this, like Coach Prime did.
Yeah, and let's also remember this is the first year. So, whatever they do this year for anybody else, just know you've been put on notice and this is a warning because what comes after this year is just pure domination, I feel like, for years to come. Because recruiting, oh, Nick Saban, Coach Riley, all y'all take a back seat, bro. Because you can't talk to these niggas. You can't talk to these niggas like Deion can. Deion can really talk to these niggas. He ain't gotta pull out no flashy shit, none of that. No. He just pull them to the side and really just talk to them how they can feel it and be resonated towards it. But like you said, Travis Hunter, I do think that's a big loss. It's like losing two top recruits at once because he's literally a top receiver in the nation and a top cornerback in the nation. So with that blow, they've lost two of their star players and one player in that one injury. So I think it's going to be tough to beat Oregon and to beat USC without him. I would love to see it happen. I think Shador has everything in his power to keep those games competitive, keep them in it, and give them a chance to win. With Travis Hunter there, I feel very confident in their ability to at least split those games. They'd have to take one of them, in my opinion. It just sucks because I really wanted to see Travis Hunter there. I wanted them fully locked in. Oregon, whatever. If he missed 1 week and he missed Oregon, whatever. I don't care about that. But the Shador Caleb Williams matchup is the matchup of the year. That's how I see it. That's pick one and pick two. Take your pick, whichever one you like. Those are the two best players in the country.
Speaking of that,
yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of that, Deion said neither one of his sons are going to the league next year. He said that literally in a video I watched probably like 2-3 hours ago.
Did you see? Did you see their son? You see Shador's reaction to that?
He was like,
he gave him a side. That nigga gone, bro. Gone.
It's one of those things, but in reality, and I know this might be popped off a little bit off topic. I'll kind of get back where we were, but it's one of those things where Shador in reality probably, if I'm gonna guess how much NIL money he's making, he's probably pushing 2-3 mil. Like in my opinion, like just from the outside looking in, and that might be even a low standard for him.
Yeah.
Like because he was already in commercials before he was even on Colorado. Like before he was even on the damn team. This is Jackson State, dog. Um, and this also in the grand scheme of things has put black colleges on the map as well. Because a lot of these dudes came from black colleges, like obviously Shador's Jackson State. This whole situation, bro, is insane. Because you go to a not predominantly black school, being Colorado, like I mean, dude, they're gonna rush the field every time they win a game at this point. It doesn't matter what they do. They've got people on the edge of their seats the entirety of the games they play, no matter if they're winning by 20 or tie game, having a double OT game till 2:30 in the morning on Eastern time, man. And I'm telling you, that's one of the most incredible games I've watched in the last couple of years, in my opinion. If you guys didn't have a chance to watch it, I would literally start at the middle of the fourth quarter and just watch through the double overtimes. It's super fun to watch. Unfortunately, I believe you still see the hit of Travis Hunter, which I'm not a fan of. And I do want to point that out. That guy, it was a dirty hit, and the reason I say it was a dirty hit, and the only reason I say it was a dirty hit, it's not because it came after the play and it was kind of like broken up. Yes, those are all evident points, very good points. It's the fact that he like stood kind of over him after he hit him, like. And Travis Hunter isn't a big guy. Like he's not a big guy. He knows this. So he's obviously gonna understand he was defenseless. And the fact that he didn't get a targeting call for that was insane too, because I've definitely seen way worse targeting calls in my day. I've seen a lot. There was a UNC one a couple years ago. It was outrageous. Dude, like, I mean, dog dropped his head to the guy's knees and he hit him on his head and they called a targeting call on it. Like, I don't know what you want to do. Like, what do you want to Yeah, and even to that point, I know that obviously the Colorado team's extremely special. Regardless of how the season ends up, it's going to be incredible to just recap. I'm sure there will definitely be awards for this team, pending their record. Definitely a coaching award for Deion in some capacity, whether it's from an ESPN, from whoever gives out the awards. Excuse me, Jesus. Super excited to see where this all goes. And like you said earlier, man, this is just a foundation. Like as he is trying to build an empire. I don't think Deion seeks to coach at the NFL level. I think he really has found his niche in college football because he really, I believe, really wants to, like you said, take those young boys and turn them into men. Um, and that's ultimately what I think he genuinely loves to do, being that he has two young boys himself. And obviously, I'm sure has a ton of love for the team that he's got currently and will for the guys that come in post them as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, with that being said, the last topic of the night, week 2 recap. I don't know, man. I took some notes on it. The way that I broke it down was from AFC East, all the AFC, so AFC East, North, South, West. Took my takeaways from that. Then I did the East, North, South, West in the NFC and took my takeaways from that. But I just want to start just off the TOP with my Panthers, bro. I got I so
Go for it.
right now the Panthers are 0-2. They're the only team in the division that has a loss. All three of the other teams are 2-0. The Falcons, the Saints, and the Bucks. The fucking Bucks are 2-0. Are 2-0. That means, because we've already lost 2 divisional games. 2. We only have 4 more. Bro. We got to win out divisional. These head-to-heads are important, bro. It doesn't help that Bryce Young had one of the best defenses in the league to go against this past week or on Monday. And then the week prior is his first real game in the NFL because they didn't let him get enough fucking reps in preseason because they literally played him total of like maybe 30 snaps, maybe. Dude, he's a rookie. oh, he might get hurt. Like, who fucking cares, dude? If he sucks, we don't care if he gets hurt. Like, no one fucking cares if he gets hurt. Like, that being said, like, they need a true game plan on what the hell they're gonna do because, in my opinion, it looks like the play calling is very consistent or inconsistent for Bryce Young's strengths. Plus, the Saints defense is very good. I will give it to them. And if it wasn't for the Panthers defense, that game wouldn't even been nearly as close because they can't fucking score a touchdown. They can't even score a damn touchdown. Get down to the red zone, turn the ball over, fumble interceptions guaranteed per game for this guy. But as they said for Peyton, Elway, and I can't remember the other person in their rookie seasons had some of the worst seasons ever. And then obviously they become great. So
Look,
who knows?
I don't have much to say about you guys. I'm not going to lie. I was probably like 70% of America that as soon as 8:15 hit, I switched that television right over to the Steelers-Browns game and never looked back. But just off of rip, I mean, look, y'all are going to be in line for another top draft pick. You're rebuilding. The defense is solid. You need more weapons on the offensive side. It's just he has no one to really throw it to. When your best and most reliable receiver is a old Adam Thielen, it's time to give the man weapons. Y'all aren't going to do anything this season. This season's a wrap. When we see you guys, Bryce Young, I would honestly bench Bryce Young and make sure he just let him have that as a second bye week. Let's not get him hurt because Micah and the boys are going to absolutely wreck his shit all game long. Like, that might be the first time that we see Bryce Young's facial expression change because he's kind of like a Kawhi of football, bro. He's stone cold face the whole game no matter what's going on, which is dope. I feel like that shows that like the moment's not getting to him. I think he's going to be fine. I think he shows a lot of promise. His pocket presence is nice. He's really smart.
Nigga. Nah. The pocket presence is mediocre.
No. Y'all's offensive line is mediocre.
Yes, I know, but like, bro, you got legs. Like, do you see Lamar with his like above average line? Like, stay in the pocket, just get sacked,
He had a decent run. He had a decent run Monday.
One decent run.
Late in the game when it matters.
No, we were down 2 touchdowns, bro. It didn't matter at that point. two scores. I didn't care. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. Well, anyways, all I'm saying is that Bryce is going to be fine. He needs more weapons. One thing I like about him that you don't see a lot of young quarterbacks do, how I know, and this is how I know he has a high intellect in the game, is he is very willing to throw the football away. Like, almost like annoyingly willing to throw the football away if there's nothing there. I notice him do that all the time. And to an average football fan who's like, oh man, he's not doing anything, but he's really just doing the smart play there. I'd rather him throw the football away than try to force the pass and
for years.
Yeah, and get an interception. He's not about that. He's smart with the football. I think he'll be fine. Y'all have some growing pains. I think
put some fucking weight on.
I want to say the Saints are the best team in y'all's division. That's my initial gut reaction. I think the Bucks
I'm with you.
Are right there with them, depending on how much longer Baker Mayfield can keep up his play at this level. If he can keep up his play at the level he's playing at now, they're probably the best team in the division. But I don't trust that to happen. I have more trust in Derek Carr at quarterback, and they have a very complete team on defense. So I would have to go with the Saints because Derek Carr is probably the best quarterback in that division, and Saints or Bucks might have the best overall roster. So I'm gonna go with the Saints. I think that y'all are gonna struggle a little bit on offense, defense. Y'all are who y'all are. That J.C. Horn pick is not looking great. He cannot stay on the field. He is injury prone. I mean, I know the talent's there at a cornerback level, but he can't stay on the field, so we'll never know. So
how's he getting fucking hurt at cornerback, bro? Dude, what the fuck is wrong with athletes these days, bro? You guys are, I'm not calling him a wussy, but bro, niggas be just going out of games. Oh shit, got hit. Ah, shit, my leg's cramping. Ah, shit, my toe hurts. Now, fuck out of here, bro. You're a grown ass man. You gonna tell your kids, quit? Damn, bro. I'm sorry. The next division, I'm sorry. I really, they just pissed me off. Um, I want to go from the AFC down. We'll get to your Cowboys last because I let you get your rant on for them and let you get your air out for them.
I
I
can
want to
wait.
talk about I want to talk about the AFC East because right now we've got the Dolphins at 2-0, the Jets at 1-1, the Bills at 1-1, and the Patriots at 0-2. And just an initial takeaway from that, right now I think this division for the Dolphins is an absolute fucking layup. It's an absolute layup. God forbid if they have injuries, which is one of the things I'm worried about with Tua. If he gets one another those concussion hits, I'm not really feeling that at that point. Then Josh Allen will probably swoop in, or actually maybe the fucking Jets will win the division for all we know.
Hell
Um,
no.
but they look sharp, man. I mean, the offense is crazy high powered. I mean, like, I don't even know what you do against them. Like with Tyreek on the field, they're stretching the field all types of ways. They're running Tyreek in motion every single play. Like every single play he's in motion. So it's like, brother, how are you going to cover him with a running start? And in my opinion, this might be a bold prediction. I think they are going to go 6-0 in the divisional games. I don't think they're
Oh,
going to lose one divisional game. That's my opinion. Look, I think the hardest game of the year for them divisionally is going to be playing the Bills at the Bills, and I don't believe Josh Allen doesn't have that dog in him. We talked about this. He doesn't have that dog in him, and Tua. As he gets more comfortable, I've seen even through the two games that he's played, just catching glimpses of it, watching him a little bit, seeing how he's dropping back, seeing how he's throwing the football. He's finding timings better, a lot better than he was last season. That team was still making a trend up. So the sky is the limit for these guys. I just don't think that anybody in their division right now, the Patriots are a wash. The Jets, they can do with the defense, but I still like it's one of those things like it's like playing a college football team like prime Auburn with Cam Newton. Not saying that Cam Newton is Tua or Tua is Cam Newton. But like when you're playing a team like that can just take the ball or Oregon Ducks from Marcus Mariota's age, like they just can do whatever they want on offense. It's just all about can they stop it on defense? And they've shown that they can do that as well.
look, I'm with you. I think the Dolphins are the front runners in that division for sure. Them going 6-0, I can't. It's NFL. I just couldn't see that happening. I don't know. I don't know if they're that dominant. Like, I don't know if they're that dominant. I think
I
they're a
think they're gonna
really
get
good
there.
team. I think the Bills will be their competition in that division. While I think Josh Allen is a roller coaster and he's got dog in him, his problem might be he's got too much dog and doesn't know when to dial it back. And he's like a dog that hasn't been neutered yet. He doesn't know when to dial it back. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the Bills will be some competition for them. I think the Bills are still a good team. I don't see them as Super Bowl contenders, but I think they're a good
Absolutely
team.
not.
Miami, yeah, they're on a hot streak. Tua looks good. I've always been a big supporter of Tua. I've always seen those tendencies in him. He reminds me a lot of Drew Brees with his accuracy and how he gets the ball out really quickly. So there's a lot of good things right there. And if Jalen Ramsey comes back for the Dolphins, that's a huge gain for them later on this season. I got question marks if he'll actually return, but if he does return, then that would be good for him. So yeah, Dolphins are the front runners. I think the Bills are right there with them. I got them a notch below. The Bills have a better defense for sure. Which Dolphins' problem still right now is their defense is not that great, or they're not like that Chargers game. It was still a bunch of blowouts and stuff like that. When you face one of those really epic defenses and they're stopping you a few times, then you're gonna have to find new ways to win games. Listen,
That's fact.
the Jets are relevant, absolutely relevant with Zach Wilson as quarterback. I don't think there's anybody that they can go get that's out there that's available that will make them relevant again. That so-and-so top three defense that they thought was going to be 85 Bears defense, Dak Prescott, ran up and down it very easily, put up 30 points. So, I mean, I don't know what everybody's raving about when it comes to that defense. So I think that they're absolutely irrelevant. The Patriots
I
are 0-2. But I think they're a little better than 0-2. I think they're a little better than what their record is showing. They're very well coached. Mac Jones, for the lack of weapons, is actually playing quite decent. Obviously, the defense is always good. Bill Belichick is a defensive mastermind, so they'll always have a top 10 defense. I have it Dolphins number 1, Bills number 2, Patriots 3, and Jets bottom last in the division. That's how I think it will finish. That is my initial inclination.
Well, that's definitely something new not to see the Patriots at the top of that division for the past couple of years now. Obviously, with the falling out of Brady. But coming into the AFC North, where you've obviously right now you got the Ravens at 2-0, you got the Steelers at 1-1, got the Browns at 1-1 after an epic game last night. Shout out Nick Chubb. Hopefully, um, everything goes well, man. I really hate to see that shit. Like it sucks. And then you got your Bengals at 0-2. So my initial thoughts on that is the Ravens right now are a clear favorite, especially with the Bengals struggling. Lamar is in MVP form right now. He's in that bag again, and it's scary because him and Odell seem to they're starting to get a little bit of rhythm, not all of it, but a little bit. And then what's his face? I can't remember his first name, but Flowers is. I
Zay
mean, he's just
Flowers?
Zay Flowers is a phenomenal football player. And so I do want to mention though that the Bengals did start last year with 2 losses and went to the NFC champion or AFC championship. So it
But
does
not 2
depend.
divisional losses.
Yes, but not 2 divisionals. So that's true. But that being said, all of that depends on if they can get that engine running sooner than later. Because right now, to lose to Lamar, that's the first time they lost to the Ravens in the last 3 meetings, I believe. And Lamar, like I said, is in MVP form. It's really hard to say, like with the Browns, because after losing Nick Chubb, I can't really see that team doing much now because Deshaun's playing okay. Like it's not anything bad with him, and the defense doing all right. But like, and the Steelers are just the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers are going to be competitive. They're going to play you hard. Like that's just what it is. Mike Tomlin has instilled that into his teams. But I mean, right now I think it's Lamar's division, and in my opinion, depending on how Mahomes and who else will be an MVP contender this year? I mean, in the AFC at least. I mean, really nobody
Tua's
except for
number 1
Mahomes.
right now.
Yeah, Tua's not going to win that shit. I promise.
Dude,
They won't
I
let it
think
happen.
if the MVP vote ended today, I think number 1 and number 2 are both defensive players in my opinion.
In the AFC and the NFC,
Well, I'm just talking about if the MVP vote happened today, just in general across the whole NFL. I think the top 2, the whoever the MVP is, the winner and the front runner would both be defensive players right now, and T.J. Watt and Michael Parsons. However way you have it, I think those 2 right now are leading. They lead the MVP race in my eyes. I know defensive players don't get it, but these quarterbacks aren't even playing well. Like they're playing well. Like we're mentioning Tua and Lamar Jackson as playing well, but they're playing well in comparison to their contemporaries. But as far as historically speaking, these stats from quarterbacks have been very lackluster across the board for everybody. I think that they were saying, what's his face? The rookie from the Texans, CJ Stroud, he's leading in a lot in multiple categories across the NFL and in
they
some
throw the ball 50 sometimes a game too. That's
in
the
some
same thing
sense
when
of
what.
statistics, but he's doing it efficiently
Yeah, I
on a
give him
bad
that.
team.
I'm proud. I'm happy to see CJ Stroud, and we're gonna get to him here in the AFC South. But yeah, I think the North is the Ravens division to lose. I hate it for Joe Burrow and that team. They look a little uncomfortable, look a little bit out of rhythm. And once again, I absolutely fucking hate it for the Browns because like I love Nick Chubb. I think he's like I don't even think he's necessarily an exciting player. I just think he's a good football player. Like he's just a good, solid. He plays the game right, and it's just shitty that those things have to happen. And then, I mean, we'll talk about in the NFC. I mean, with Saquon, I mean that shit sucks too. So, um, going back to the AFC South because we already kind of led into it. You got the Jags right now at 1-1, Colts at 1-1, Titans at 1-1, and then the good old CJ Stroud Texans at 0-2. Texans probably will have 15 losses this year. Let's just be real. That's just what it's going to look like. But initial thoughts right now, Colts and Jags are those guys that could, in my opinion, make a surprising playoff run depending on how they end the season injuries pending, etc., and how the AFC looks on the other side on injuries, etc., so on and so forth, going into the playoffs and momentum. I think Trevor Lawrence right now is becoming extremely comfortable in an NFL pocket. Extremely comfortable. He's always been comfortable in the pocket, but especially now, after having the season they had last year, and he wants redemption. He wants an opportunity to prove himself against the best players in the world, the best football teams, some of the best football teams, speaking of the Chiefs of all time. I definitely think he wants that type of title. And then when you talk about the Colts situation, the running game is solid, and it's not many opponents that can like go out of their way to do too much about it. But I think as of now, if I'm looking at a front runner, I'm looking at the Jags because they've been there before. But I think the Colts could surprise a lot of people and have an extremely competitive divisional race towards the very end of the season. And then to hit on CJ Stroud, because we're not going to talk about the fucking Titans, because the Titans are just there at this point. I don't think you're beating the Jags, in my opinion. But CJ Stroud continues to have to adjust, such as Bryce Young does. I think, like you said, he's top in a few different things categories. I think he's a phenomenal pick. I think he'll be really good. In my opinion, just looking from 2 games, obviously I think Bryce will be great too. But I think the ceiling realistically can be seen as higher for CJ Stroud because of his size differential compared to Bryce. Because he's not that much bigger than Bryce, but Bryce is like a tiny dude. And tiny guys don't usually end up well in the NFL in terms of quarterbacks. That's just what it is.
So, all right, we gave you your shitty Panthers rant. We don't need to go back to them niggas again. So, but anyways, I agree that the Jags are front runners. I think the Colts can make it interesting from like a game-to-game perspective, but I don't really think they're a threat to anybody in the grand scheme of things when it comes to playoffs. I think they're a couple years away. Anthony Richardson is surprising people on all levels. His kind of the way he approaches the game, the aura he kind of has around him, it's kind of crazy because he's got like the whole, it almost seemed like the team is following behind Anthony Richardson. He just got there and people weren't even sure like what he was at quarterback and they're all just buying into him. He had like 2 rushing touchdowns before he went into concussion protocol before the game was over. I think he's going to be really good fantasy wise. If he's still sitting out there on waivers for you guys, you better pick him up. If you got him on your bench, I don't know who you have starting over him, but I can almost guarantee halfway into the season, he'll probably make it into your starting lineup because he's probably going to get those rushing touchdowns all day long. But like I said, Jags are the front runner. Calvin Ridley was such a great acquisition for the Jaguars and for Trevor Lawrence specifically to have that guy because we know he loves Zay Flowers, or not Zay Flowers. He loves Zay Jones, the ECU native, Pirates, go Pirates, and Christian Kirk. We know he loves those weapons, but neither one of those guys even scratched the surface of what is capable with Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is an absolute stud. I remember James Jones on Speak said before the season that Calvin Ridley would end as a top 5 receiver. He had somewhat of a lackluster game last week, but he absolutely came out the gate week 1. But that was a defensive game. And I think Trevor Lawrence, like you said, he's got a lot of confidence. I think he's here. I think he's going to be one of those top AFC quarterbacks. He's going to bump Josh Allen. He's going to bump Justin Herbert down. And he's going to be competing right there with Lamar and Joe Burrow as, you know, that kind of 2-3 range. I think that's where Trevor Lawrence will be. I don't see him surpassing Patrick Mahomes. I just can't see that happening.
Realistically, the only quarterbacks that, in my eyes, that I can see that is Lamar and Joe when they're playing at their best. That's just in the AFC.
No, there's nobody.
I mean,
realistically speaking,
that's the only realistic, like in some, not even dream world, but like that's the only real way I could see in terms of quarterbacks that have a shot at it. More or less, is probably.
I think the only quarterbacks that have the ceiling to do so are not in the league yet.
Don't fucking say Dak. I'm about to say, don't fucking say Dak.
I'm not about to say Dak, bro. I'm not about to say Dak. Even though he's leading the league in QBR, I'm not going to say Dak. I was saying Caleb Williams or Shedeur Sanders. I think what Caleb Williams have put on tape for a college football perspective, from a prospect, we have not seen. Like, Caleb Williams looks like a Patrick Mahomes prototype. Now, I'm not willing to put him there with Patrick Mahomes yet. We have not seen him play in the NFL. Caleb Williams is doing things that Patrick Mahomes does, but he's doing it against college players. Let's see him do it against NFL players like Patrick Mahomes does. But he has a lot of the same mechanics, technicalities. I think that he is. But yeah, I think the Jags are the front runners. There's not much in that division. That division is kind of boring, to be honest.
No, it's always been a pretty boring division because Peyton was running it for a decade. So
also,
kind of helped.
Fun fact, Jaguars are the only team to not play a Sunday night game.
This whole year?
At all.
What do you... Oh, night game. Okay, shit. They usually play the 4 o'clock, or they'll play the 4.
They don't... I mean, they've never had like a prime time...
That's insane.
Or at least that's a stat I saw on Twitter. I did not fact check that. I saw it on Twitter, and it just popped in my head, right. And I'm reiterating it. Right. And here at After Dark, we're a nighttime show, so we ain't got to fact check everything. We're just here to have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. And going to the shittiest division in probably the entirety of the league, the AFC West. Right now we get the Raiders at 1-1, the Chiefs at 1-1, the Chargers at 0-2, and the Broncos at 0-2. Let's go and just start with the Broncos. They fucking suck. Next, the Chargers. The Chargers will pick up steam. They're still not getting out of the division beating the Chiefs. The Raiders are the Raiders. I don't expect much from the Raiders. I've said this multiple times over and over. It used to be Brady's division in the AFC, in the AFC East used to be the weakest division before Josh Allen came in and started giving some competition. But now the AFC West is truly the weakest division in the National Football League.
But the problem is, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't be. But like it is. It is. It's just what it is. Patrick Mahomes is literally gonna dog these dudes. It's not even like a game for them at that point. Travis Kelce gets healthy. Like and I hate it because I don't like Patrick Mahomes. But he's just gonna fucking like it's not much thought going into it, and just kind of what I wrote down notes wise. I mean, unless somehow these dudes just fumble the biggest bag of all time, the Chiefs, there's no way they lose this division. There's no way. Like, Patrick Mahomes would literally have to get hurt. And I'm not speaking that into existence. I don't want anybody to ever get hurt. But that would literally have to happen. And then they'd have to have basically half their offensive line just fall over. That's how bad the division is. Russell Wilson can't win football games. I don't even want to talk about fucking, not even the Chargers, but the Raiders. They're just the most up and down team of all time, bro. They have a good season. They have a mediocre season. They don't have a shit season. They can't win.
The Raiders are a joke. Josh McDaniels, he hasn't done anything as being the head coach of any team since he's been a head coach. He's done it multiple times. And we have seen multiple times that he is an absolute failure at that. So I don't know why we plan to see what he can do next. He's probably going to continue to be an absolute failure at that. He should go back to being an offensive coordinator for the Patriots, for Bill Belichick, where he actually does some good things. That's enough of the Raiders. So let's get into the Chargers. Chargers, they picked up Kellen Moore. They thought they were about to score 40 points a game. Guess what? Kellen Moore puts up points, but he is not a good situational offensive coordinator. Cowboys fans been trying to tell the world that the whole time, but they were still stuck up on, Cowboys are number one offense the last 3 years. Okay, that's fine and dandy. What you got to understand is Kellen Moore is trying to win a head coaching job. So all he's trying to do every time he gets the ball is score points. That is not football. That is not chess. Chess is when you're up big, you are supposed to hold on the ball, keep possession of the ball, run timeout, make sure your defense stays off the field so we can get this game in and go ahead and seal the win in. Kellen Moore doesn't think that way. When they went into overtime and went 3 and out, it's because Kellen Moore is dialing up plays that aren't situationally correct. So, I mean, that's just what it is. Like I said though, I'm a pause on acting as if the Chargers have a problem. I don't think they have a problem. Obviously, that offense is lethal. Absolutely lethal with Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, obviously, they're going to be putting up points. They're going to win games because they're putting up points. The defense needs to get it together. They're one of the most expensive defenses in the league, and they're playing like one of the worst. So that's a bad recipe for disaster. That's how niggas lose jobs. So someone's got to step their shit up. Chiefs are going to run through that division. They're going to run through it. Sean Payton, you were calling out Nathaniel Hackett. You were saying that it was the worst coaching job in team history, and now you're sitting at 0-2, my boy. You're putting everything on Russ. Russ actually played a decent game last time. I don't know why you're putting it on Russ at some point. Now, if Russ keeps playing decent games, now I'm not saying he's playing good games, and I'm not saying he looks like the Russ that we came to know. But if he's putting up decent games and y'all are losing, and he has big leads because they had a big lead going into halftime, that's going to come down to coaching at some point, my boy. Can't keep putting it on good boy Russ. That's all I got to say. Chiefs are going to run away with that division. Chargers will creep their way up there in second place, probably find themselves on a wild card playoff game. But other than that, that's the Chiefs division to win for the foreseeable future.
Yes, and now we get to your fucking division. Now we get the NFC East. Right now we have 3 teams at 2-0: the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders. And then we also have the Giants at 1-1 after the shellacking from the Cowboys in Week 1. So I'll give my takeaways before he gets into his bag, because you know he's gonna get into his bag regardless. When it comes down to the NFC East, right now, I think, in my opinion, if you look at the NFC, it is the most competitive division, where top to bottom, they have the most talent overall throughout the entire NFC, and maybe in the entirety of the league. And this is probably the most competitive it's been in the last probably 5 years, like where there's multiple teams that can not. I'm not saying the Cowboys aren't unbeatable, but I'm not saying they're not beatable either. It's one of those things where if a team comes out flat, another team can beat them, and it wouldn't be an issue type of thing. That being said, I still believe the Cowboys and the Eagles is their division to fight for. Obviously, the Commanders are the Commanders, and I love the spirit that DC has, but you guys just aren't beating the Cowboys and the Eagles. It's just not happening right now. It's just not gonna happen. We know this is not gonna happen. You're playing against 2 good quarterbacks, 2 good offenses, 2 good defenses, well-rounded, built to win Super Bowls. Obviously, Cowboys aren't gonna make the Super Bowl, but the Eagles have already been there, and they were a couple plays away from winning that Super Bowl. But that being said, excited for those divisional games between the Cowboys and the Eagles. It's going to be super fun to watch. And at the end of the day, I think the divisional games are going to be the decider who wins this division. I think flat out who wins the series. If they split the series on Cowboys Eagles, it depends on how they come out in terms of the divisional record on the other side, and that's going to be the team that wins the division and gets themselves a bye in the first week, because I think they're going to have the second 1-2 best records in the league or in their side of the bracket. I mean, obviously, right now, I think these guys are the top 2 contenders in the NFC. I don't think it's a question. There's really not many other teams aside from the 49ers that can really compete with these 2 guys right now in the the Eagles and the Cowboys. And these guys, it honestly might end up coming down to a Cowboys/Eagles versus 49ers in the NFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl, which I'm super excited to see that as well, pending injuries. I mean, this is a 17-week season now, or it's 18-week season now, 17 games, more likelihood of injuries, but more likelihood for crazier endings to the season as well. So super pumped for that. Want to get your thoughts on it, Mike. Obviously, I know they're your boys, so want to at least let you get that off.
Yeah, so let's start from the bottom. So we're going to talk about the Giants with their $40 million Kmart version of Eli Manning. They were down. They basically started off the season, their first 6 quarters, they got outscored 60-0. 60-0. It took a miraculous second half comeback against the Arizona Cardinals, who are very much so in line to receive Caleb Williams or Deion Sanders with the first pick in the draft. That's how the Giants season is going so far. Not too hot. The Commanders, a lot of promising stuff going on with the Commanders. Sam Howell he very well so might be the franchise guy for the Commanders. He's a UNC guy, Charlotte native. So he's a really good player. He's showing a lot of heart out there. They got some real weapons out there. Defense is good. Yeah, I like what they got going on. Like you said, they're not a real threat to do anything in the division. But if you are a Commanders fan, you should be happy and proud with where your team's at. There's something to build on, and there is hope for a future of competitiveness in the later down the line. So now we move on to the Eagles. The Eagles are sitting at 2-0. When you're winning games and you're finding a way to win games, you can't be too upset with what's going on. But if we really look with our eyes, because when I watch the media, there's a lot of covering up, a lot of bullshit going on, and a lot of people not trusting their eyes. And if you trust what your eyes tell you, the Eagles don't look like the Eagles of last year. They don't look dominant like that. The defense, if they can't get sacks, then they give up a lot of yards. They let Kirk Cousins look like an absolute beast in their first game. Matt Jones looked like an absolute beast in the first game. They're going to need real defense because when you look at the landscape, it's the Eagles, Cowboys, and 49ers at NFC. It's as simple as that. Maybe somebody might come out of nowhere in the second half of the season, but we're talking about first 2 weeks. It's as simple as that, those three. And what the Cowboys and the 49ers have is decent offense and legendary defense. And the Eagles are supposed to be in that, really good to legendary defense realm as well, but they're not showing it. Obviously Jalen Hurts not having the best start. He's not having a bad start per se, but he just doesn't look like he's in that flow state kind of like he was last year. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be competitive. They're definitely going to, be the ones that we're looking over our shoulders for the whole time, but they don't look like the Eagles of last year. I think that's fair to say. I don't think I'm being some irrational Cowboys fan when I say that just based off of what I saw.
You're just irrational because you are a Cowboys fan. That's the only reason.
Very well so. But speaking of the Cowboys, how about I give my irrational Cowboys fan initial thoughts of being 2-0 in the league. And, from where I sit, we are by far the number one team in the league after 2 weeks. If you try to argue anybody else, I'm just going to say you're a Cowboys hater. After 2 weeks, we're the number one team in the NFL. It's as simple as that. We're the team to beat right now. It's as simple as that. Everybody wanted to tell me how good the Jets defense was when Josh Allen committed 4 turnovers against it. Everybody wanted to tell me that. That defense did not scare me, not for a second. Okay, well, maybe 1 second because Dak almost threw that pick 6, and I almost shit myself a little bit when I saw that. But other than that, that's the only play that defense scared me. Other than that, we carved them up the whole game. Dak slicing, dicing, big boy in the city, yo. I'm telling you, he's got names. He got names all across his hand, and he's checking every single one of them off this year. This is the year. Listen to me. Michael Parsons looks like something I've never seen before. On that very first drive that the Jets have when Zach Wilson dropped back and you just saw Michael Parsons peel across the corner and come straight up the gut and fucking sack him and do his lion crawl. If you don't tell me that that's not the scariest shit that you've seen all year, like, our defense looks scary, bro. Scary. I couldn't imagine being Zach Wilson and having to sit in that pocket knowing that everywhere I turn, there's this big-ass gorilla nigga trying to fucking sack the shit out of me and kill me. Hell nah, bro. There ain't no shot in hell. All I'm saying is, listen, trust your eyes. Trust them. They won't deceive you. You know what you see. You really do. You know what you see. We are going to absolutely wreak havoc this season. This is not the same Cowboys of late. You want to know how it's different? You want to know why it's different? Because this is usually the time where everybody buys in. Not just the Cowboys fans, but everybody. This is usually the time where it's like, the natural Cowboys hype cycle. Oh, this is their year. Everyone hops on the train. And what I've noticed is everyone's reluctant to hop on the train this year. What that's going to give is just added motivation to our players, and it's a little different, and it's going to make it so much sweeter when the first year that everyone hopped off the train is the year that we reach the destination. How sweet is that? It's beautiful, baby. It's
He
beautiful.
saved that line. He saved that line. Well, I will say that you guys are a scary team to watch, and this upcoming week, unfortunately for the fucking Cardinals,
Oh, they're going to get wrecked.
dude, I don't even know. Justin Dobbs or Jay Dobbs, I can't even remember his fucking first name. He
Josh.
played it. Josh Dobbs from Tennessee. Dude, that bald head might turn waxed, full on waxed after this game. I don't know what to tell him. Block to the best of your ability. Double team Micah Parsons on every single rut. It does not matter, bro. I don't care if there's a guy leaning into the backfield for Reid. Let him go, because I think if Micah gets his hands on him, it might be a real problem. He might actually make him look like a cancer patient. And shout out cancer. That shit sucks. For anybody that's got it out there and fighting it. Um, and I mean, last point I wanted to make here. I mean, your Cowboys do look good. I'm not gonna take anything away from them. I will not get on that train because, like I said, I know they won't get to that destination because guess what? There's a couple other teams that I got a lot more faith in that they're gonna do it and actually have shown that they can do it. So that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that. They could go 16-1 for all I fucking care. And they'll still find a way to fucking troll. Last point I wanted to make on the NFC, on the take of the week one, the 49ers are showing their face again, to being one of the best organizations in the league because for some way, somehow, these motherfuckers always find a way to just pop out just dudes. Just pop out dudes. And then you get Christian McCaffrey on your team, who is, I mean,
The best back in the NFL.
I can't believe it. I can't believe the Panthers had him, and they let him go for Bryce. They let all this stuff go for Bryce Young, which is good if it turns out good, but it's a gamble, and I'm not a huge yeah, I am. But when it comes to gambling, you got to be able to hedge your bets, and the hedging was Bryce Young and his success. And until I see that looks like it's a bad bet. That being said, I think the 49ers right now are the second and third most dominant team in the NFC. Like you said, it is a 49ers Cowboys Eagles league. Looking at the San Francisco 49ers division right now, you got them at 2-0, Rams at 1-1, Seahawks at 1-1, and the Cardinals at 0-2. You got to watch out for the Seahawks just because of the simple fact that they got a lot of fight in them.
Yep.
Pete Carroll, he inspires those guys, man. Geno Smith's got those guys on a point. I'm so happy for Geno Smith too, from the road that he's taken from West Virginia to now. Super happy to see him, start to have real success in the NFL. Not even necessarily real success, but to see him flourish a little bit more and really be able to show off what he's able to do. Someone that I always kept an eye on, even while he was in college. But I mean, the 49ers are the 49ers. It's hard to debate it when you look at the West. And right now it's East versus West, and the East has a couple better players and get better teams. And I'm just thinking that, we'll see as the season goes on. We get a long season ahead. And like I said, pending any injuries, because we know they're going to happen. And it's the shittiest part about the game, and about sports in general. Those dictate seasons, those dictate wins and losses. And I hope that everybody stays healthy. That's important enough to stay healthy. And I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I know the game of football.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you pretty much on all your points. I think the 49ers are easily going to run away with that division, and probably won't lose any sleep over anyone in that division, to be honest. I have the 49ers as the second best team in the league right now. I think that defense is truly dominant. If it's either a notch under ours or the exact same, just a different type of defense. Like, it's that dominant. It's the exact, like, it's pick your poison, basically. That defense is crazy. He's got the reigning defensive player of the year on the team, and Nick Bosa. Brock Purdy is looking like he's really he's really the guy to lead them to the way.
Babyface assassin, bro.
Yeah.
Babyface assassin.
It's crazy. And, they got Christian McCaffrey, who I think is the best running back in the league. I don't really think that's debatable either. I think he's the most versatile running back in the league. They got a really good offense, too, with Ayuk and George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. It's talent all across the board. Great coach in Shanahan as well. I think the 49ers are good. The Rams are surprising a lot of people. I expected them to fall flat on their face, but they actually look pretty decent. They actually got a pretty good offense. They got a rookie receiver coming in and breaking the record for most receptions in the first 2 weeks, which is insane. It's 25, and the previous record was 19. So when Cooper Kupp's come back, they got weapons too. They're formidable. Aaron Donald's still there. Aaron Donald might not be the best defensive player in the league anymore, but he's top 5, top 3 maybe, and he's still Aaron fucking Donald. We heard Geno Smith when he came inside up the middle. We heard what his reaction was. So he's still instilling that same fear into people. So, the Rams can, ruin some people's seasons and make some games that should probably be an easy win, an ugly loss. Seahawks, they've got a lot of talent. I imagine them to finish in second place. I would like to see them get that wild card spot and maybe ruin someone's playoff hopes. Hopefully not the Cowboys. But I think they're a good team, and I think they got a lot. I mean, well-coached Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's just the man, honestly, because the last time we saw Russell look good was with Pete Carroll, and now he resurrected Geno Smith's career. Like, Pete Carroll's that dude, and we got to start talking about him as one of those coaches. He's right there with Tomlin, Belichick, and Reid. Pete Carroll is that dude. That team's playing well. I would like to see the defense maybe play a little bit better, but the offense is spectacular. It's a lot of pieces going over there. I think it's exciting. I think the whole league, the landscape of what this season will be is exciting. There's a lot of storylines. The only problem is there's a lot of injuries as well, so if maybe we can clean some of those up, get some of those players back in. Hopefully everyone stays healthy. This will be a good season, a great one, and even better if the Cowboys are hosting that Lombardi Trophy. God, man.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait. I hope they make it and they lose. That would be great. I'm sorry, I'm praying on your downfall. But, in that case, I know, Mike, we want to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys. I want to go ahead and once again shout you guys out again for the likes, subscribing, just even listening and watching, whatever platform that you're on. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Definitely take a listen to that. We try to compartmentalize the videos. Shout out Mike for that. So you can really pick and choose. I know we typically only have about 4 to 5 topics. Try to keep it pretty condensed for y'all, but we are big talkers and we love tangents, and that's just how we talk. We've talked like that for years, almost a decade now. So want to just kind of give you guys the best content as we can, and we love feedback. So that's why we really need you guys to comment. Let us know if you know us personally, text us, whatever it needs to be, Instagram DMs via our Instagram, and on Apple Music and Spotify, 5 stars, etc., so on and so forth. And appreciate you guys on the ride. This has been amazing, and we're going to keep checking for you.
Yep. Thanks for rocking with us. So, for all the fellas out there listening, listen, they only want a 1% man until they watch this previous episode where we kind of teach them a little bit. But as of right now, they still want a 1% nigga. So quit your bitching and get your bread up. For the ladies out there listening, he doesn't want you, sweetie, so please move on already. Every single week, I gotta tell your ass to move on, and you still up here texting him like he texts you at 2:30 and you over here excited as shit. You a booty call, ho. You a booty call. Leave his ass. But it's okay, because you're still beautiful and powerful, and we'll always love you. It's the After Dark Podcast. Until next time.